Hey, my lovely, lovely, wonderful, handsome, beautiful people. A pleasant Good Friday to everybody. You know, wonderful people, something came to my mind that I saw on social media that really and truly disturbed me. And I'm wondering what it is that is truly or really and truly happening in our schools. I saw a gentleman asking a teen, what planet do you live in? The teen's response was Jamaica. And I said to myself, we have a serious problem here in this country. We really and truly do. There are some basic foundational things that people should know. Now, not everybody will be, not, what is the word I'm looking for, will have a liking or even acclimatize themselves to certain subjects, namely the sciences. I've always said it's just a specific few that God has given that sort of leaning and the ability to do it. It is something that I think is carved out specifically for a certain sect people. But there are certain foundational courses that every child, once you go to school, you're exposed to. The mandatory ones, English and mathematics. Then you have the social sciences, or social studies, I should say. Then you would have the business courses, then you would have, like integrated science, biology, or the basic physics, whatever it is. But each child is exposed to these subjects so that you can at least have a basic understanding of what each subject requires. So, usually it's the sciences that will teach you about the solar systems, the different planets that we have, like Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, Pluto, Neptune, and so on, Mercury, Mars, and including the one that we inhabit, Earth. Earth. And I've seen many instances where certain questions are asked of these students who would have passed that basic foundation, and the responses are unbelievable. I could not believe that the fellow said Jamaica when the man had asked him, what planet do you live in? I could not believe it. I really was, I was discombobulated, flabbergasted, perplexed, dumbfounded. And when I looked at what even was more disturbing for me is the fact that people were sending up the laughing emojis. It's not a funny situation, because when we have a plethora of people who their IQ is very low, meaning the knowledge, is very limited, their emotional intelligence, and if I'm to break it down, their critical thinking skills, to think deeply on a matter, don't just take things at face value, and to be able to comprehend what is really being said or what is not even said is a little to none. It will tell you what kind of a society we will have in the future. Do not be deceived. Whatever a man sows, that he will reap. And it reminded when I heard that teenager say Jamaica to the question of which planet he basically inhabits. It reminded me of when I was watching something some time ago where a teen, because the statistics, I can't remember the percentage that it was. I had said it on another post. But the statistics and the percentage was not good. It was sort of high, where teens were reading at the grade 4 or below level. And they showed an example on the television where a teen was reading, and to be honest with you, it's maybe, I'm thinking, usually you would see a 3-year-old reading like that. You would usually see somebody about 3, perhaps 4, reading like that. And it's like the person would have put up the number, the word 4, and he was saying F O. I could not believe it. It broke my heart. A teenager. Because in a matter of moments, he's going to be an adult. When I sometimes even scroll social media, now I'm not the best speller in the world, but I kind of take a little bit pride in my spelling, because when I went to prep school, we used to have these spelling competitions, spelling tests, where I had to spell like in grade 5, I think I had to spell like 100 words. Is it grade 5 or grade 6? One of the two, but I think it started from grade 5. You had to spell like 100 words. I remember one time I got one wrong, just one. And the teacher had given me a nice little beating in my hand, the middle of my hand, with the ruler, because I was a good speller, generally speaking, because I took pride in it. I had actually liked it. And like, she tried to create a little healthy competition, And yeah, I remember getting one wrong out of 100 words. 100 words we had to spell. Not 10, not 20, 100. So you had times like that. She was very strident and succinct, but very focused in us learning how to spell words properly. So I'm very fearful and careful when I'm writing something and I said, I don't remember how this word, I have to Google it to see the correct spelling before sending it off. Yeah, yes. It was embedded inside of me. It was rooted and grounded. A foundation was created for me to spell correctly. And I can understand if you maybe sometimes you're typing and typo errors will come up, because I find sometimes when you're typing and you're typing quickly and trying to send a message fast, the auto thing will just change a word, spell it a funny way, and when it says, oh my God. But I'm glad that WhatsApp and some of these social media platforms has the ability to edit what you've written. So when you look and say, wait, but I didn't spell a word like this, and you can correct it, which I'm glad for. I love that. Or even if you could not, you can just send a response to show that, it was actually an incorrect way you spelled it, and so on. It is a very serious situation. And people are lacking the basic phonics, not just that, the basic antonyms and synonyms and, things that, what is the term for the words that sound, they sound similar, but they spell differently and they mean something totally different. And that is another issue that we're having, and sometimes people are writing and calling words based on how they speak and how they hear the word. So they just spell according to how the word sounds to them, without saying, let me do a little research on which of the correct there, whether it's THERE or THEIR, I should be using. Or if you're saying there, but you're using the abridged version, what's it called that again? I would look up the different parts of speech. I don't remember the name of it just now. I will look it up. It's THEY apostrophe RE. So there. So you're saying there, but so these little things, they are very significant. You may think that they're not, but they are. They will give you the ability to host and to hold healthy conversations with even people outside of your scope, people outside of your sect, people outside of your culture. You can hold healthy and very important conversations. It can even help with you promoting, getting better jobs, doing better, because you're not just able to command the English language, but you're able to lead effectively. It is very sad to know that the basic foundation has eluded quite a number of students in this 21st century. I would have more expected it in my time, before my time, and so on. But not today, where a question such as, what planet do you live in? And your response is Jamaica. Unacceptable. What is really going on? What's going on? Guys, you know what to do. Read TikTok and YouTube. Subscribe. Give me one of those lines. Have a good one.